Blood, refreshed supply might be the most accurate boomer shooter resurrection we've had yet, and also the most awkward double dip in years. On one hand, this is peak 90s FPS KS Chaos in 4K 120 with new campaigns and cleaner cutscenes. On the other, if you already bought Blood, fresh supply on PC, this can feel like paying for the same funeral twice. So let's talk about how it plays in 2025, what Nightdive actually changed, and whether it's worth your money on PS5, Switch 2, or not at all. If you somehow missed Blood back in the day, imagine Duke Nukem 3D if it was obsessed with Evil Dead, Stephen King, and occult weirdness instead of aliens and strippers. You play Caleb, a wisecracking undead gunslinger clawing his way out of the grave to annihilate a cult that killed him and kidnapped his girl. The plot is basically revenge and ridiculous gore, but the attitude is the point. Screaming cultists, exploding bodies, haunted carnivals, Shining-style hotels all drenched in pixelated blood and dark humor. Structurally, it's classic build engine FPS. Fast movement, key hunt levels, secrets everywhere, enemies that absolutely melt you if you get lazy. You're sprinting through 42 levels across multiple episodes, plus extra campaigns like Cryptic Passage and the new Marrow scenario, with another campaign promised as a free update. One review called out how the levels actually connect logically. Stop a runaway train in one map, crash into the next area in the following one, blow a hole in an iceberg and suddenly you're inside a hidden cult base. It's a tiny thing that makes the world feel way more cohesive than select mission from menu. Moment to moment, the weapons are still the star. Blood has maybe the greatest starter gun troll of all time, the flare gun. You tag a cultist, wait a beat, and then they panic, scream it burns, and erupt in a shower of pixels. You've got a vicious sawed-off shotgun, a Tommy gun, dynamite you can cook or remote detonate, aerosol plus lighter as an improvised flamethrower, a Tesla cannon, a napalm launcher, and the legendary voodoo doll that lets you stab enemies from across the room. It's all wildly over the top but still demands some brain power, because half of these toys can kill you just as fast as the monsters if you get sloppy. Level design holds up way better than you'd expect for something that launched in 1997. Early maps are still the weakest. Multiple reviewers said that's where they used to bounce off the game. But once you push a bit further, you get that circus level with popping balloons and cruel mime murder. The Overlook-inspired hotel with a snow maze, messed up temples, trains, boats, graveyards, the works. They're dense, packed with secrets, and more about learning space than following a modern objective marker. If all you've played are corridor shooters, Blood can feel like a maze at first, but when it clicks, it really clicks. So what did Nightdive actually do this time? Refresh supply is rebuilt from the original source code, not just wrapper tech around the old game. That means smoother movement, crisp input, and bug fixes that purists used to hack in with community patches. On modern hardware, you get rock-solid performance, high resolutions, proper controller support, remastered cutscenes with new 3D models you can actually see instead of 240p MUD, and a pile of tweakable options like improved enemy pathfinding and aiming that you can turn on or off depending how authentic you want it. The TechRaptor reviewer literally went from "this never clicked" to "injected in my veins" just from the feel upgrades and accessibility. Nightdive also leans hard into extras. There's the Marrow mini campaign, another scenario promised post-launch, and a vault stuffed with prototype and unreleased levels from the 90s you can wander through like a museum. It's very for the fans in the best way. Local multiplayer for up to 8 players and co-op is supported. So if you miss LAN party chaos and kicking severed heads around like soccer balls, that's here too. Now for the messy part, value. On console, this is easy. If you've never played Blood and you're on PS5, Xbox or Switch 2, Refresh Supply is the definitive way to experience it. You get a genuinely great shooter, tons of content, smooth controls, extra campaigns, and a respectful remaster from a team that clearly knows how to handle old games. A couple of sites straight up gave it a 9 out of 10 and called it one of the standout retro shooters you can play in 2025. On PC, it's complicated. Blood. Fresh supply already exists, and one European reviewer basically says if you own that and don't care about consoles, Refresh supply is almost pointless at full price. The core campaign is the same. A lot of the bonus campaigns are based on mods the communities had for years, and this is technically remastering a remaster. Yes, the new codebase, polished cutscenes, mod integration, and extra scenarios are nice. But if you're not obsessed with Caleb, and you already have a version that runs decently, this feels like a luxury purchase, not an upgrade you need. Price sensitivity is real when you're paying modern money for a 28-year-old game. Difficulty-wise, Blood still has teeth. Hitscan cultists will delete your health if you stand in the open. Ammo and health are stingy early on, and saving often is basically required on higher settings. One reviewer finally fell in love with the game only after dropping to a lower difficulty and admitting the original balance is kind of brutal by modern standards. Refresh supply gives you more granular sliders to tune enemy health and aggression, but this is still a 90s shooter at heart, not some checkpoint-heavy story mode you coast through in an evening. If you're into this mix of retro autopsies and no BS value checks, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. And if you've already played Blood any form, I definitely want to hear which version you think nailed it best. Verdict time. Blood. Refresh Supply is an excellent remaster of an excellent game, with imaginative levels, disgusting but satisfying weapons, and a fat stack of bonus content. On PS5 and Switch 2, it's an easy recommendation. On PC, if you own Fresh Supply, it's more of a wait for a deep sale unless you're a die-hard situation. So where do you land? Is charging again for a rebuilt, feature-rich version of a 90s classic fair game? Or is this remaster of a remaster trend crossing the line?